Hello everyone, back to today's video. Going to have a look at the weather for the next week to 10 days for today's video. This takes us to around the 23rd of August, so we're into the second half of the month, well and truly now, with the week to 10 day updates. So the heat wave, of course, that we had earlier in the summer, that has eased. There will still be some warm or very warm days ahead in the south, but overall it's a more changeable type scenario, particularly so for northern parts of the country. I'll bring you up to date with all the developments for the next week to 10 days in a moment. We'll also have a look at CFS V2 for the next month as well, so have a look at that towards the end of the video. Just say, coming up this evening, we're going to have the latest bank holiday weekend update. That'll be around 7 o'clock this evening. We'll see what the GFS model is showing for the bank holiday weekend. But we're going to start off by having a look at the 500 millibar height anomaly flowcharts from Penn State University. We've got the ECMWF here on the top, and the GFS, which you'll have a look at in a moment, is on the bottom. 500 millibars, 8,000 meters area. In the atmosphere, high pressure, low pressure, being moved around by the jet stream running above. Blue extrapolates low pressure, yellow, orange, and red extrapolates to high pressure. So we find that with the ECMWF in the 7 to 10 day time frame, we've got this area of below average heights to the north of the country, and we're bringing in a rather weak jet stream from the Atlantic into the UK and northern and western parts of Europe. So it looks gently unsettled, really, that, particularly so for northern parts of the country. The driest and warmest of conditions would be in the south, but all places will probably get some rain at times. This is the GFS. It's very similar. It has below average heights up to the north, above average heights out to the southwest and to south and southeast. The jet stream is coming through the country with the black lines there, rather like that. So it's certainly a more changeable period. Again, the south is closest to that ridge of above average heights, high pressure. So there you get the driest and the warmest of the conditions. The north, though, does look quite unsettled, with more influence from the area below average heights and the jet stream too. GFS ensemble also looking like this. Look at Birmingham today. So the red line here is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Birmingham. We're starting off a little bit above average for today. It's actually going to go quite warm over the next couple of days, seeing temperatures into the low to mid-20s Celsius probably tomorrow and Wednesday. Then on Thursday we bring down quite an active cold front that's going to produce potentially a fair bit of wet weather actually late Wednesday into Thursday, and that drops the temperature a little bit, but only briefly, and then through the weekend and into next week looks like we're going into a slightly warmer phase once again. No sign of a return to very extreme heat though, and certainly as we get through into this final week of August, in the extended range, but we do see evidence then that the temperatures are dropping a bit more actually through that final week of August. That's a long way off, but certainly that's the way the GFS ensembles are trending at the moment. As far as rainfall is concerned, so a reasonable amount of dry weather over the next couple of days. We might get some showers today, but they're more likely to be further east of Birmingham, actually. Wet on late Wednesday into Thursday, so Thursday could be quite a wettish day, actually, across parts of central and eastern England. That rain might get a little bit stuck and could be on for much of the day. After that, we do have precipitation spikes continuing. Not too many of them, but certainly they're at fairly regular intervals, telling us that at the very least there will be further showery bursts as we go through into sort of the final 10 days or so of August. So not completely settling down for the final week to 10 days of August. Temperature anomalies look like that from the 13th through 21st of August. We're coming out average to possibly a little bit above average with those temperature anomalies. It is average for the north. Down across England and Wales, it's possibly still a little bit above average, but nowhere near as hot as it has been through most of the summer. Then real heat is getting moved into the east and the southeastern part of Europe, where of course it was a bit cooler through the earlier part of the summer. Precipitation anomalies from the 13th to the 21st excuse me, of August looking like that, and central northern parts of the country are coming out a little bit above average with rainfall. Down in the south we're coming out close to average. So that's how the GFS is looking for Thursday. We've got that cold front moving down across the country on Thursday. It'll be introducing cooler air from the northwest. The front might get a bit stuck down in the south and southeast, might produce a fairly wet day, certainly through the morning anyway, and then clear away through the afternoon. By Wednesday, we're into this westerly flow. That could bring showers to the northwest, but the southeast should be mainly dry. Into the weekend, we have this ridge of high pressure close to the south. The main high pressure, of course, is out in the Atlantic. That's the Azores high out there, but it is throwing a ridge up to France, and that's just about holding on across southern parts of England. But in the north, it does look a bit more unsettled. So a north-south split next weekend with cloud and rain coming into the northwest at times, but the south and east mainly dry and quite warm. Temperatures probably into the mid-20s Celsius. Early next week, we look like that. So we push down cooler air from the north and the west through the course of next week, probably on another fairly active cold front, which could bring more rain. And then the winds begin to turn into the northwest, which starts to bring cooler air down from the north. That's how we look at day 10 with high pressure out to our west, bringing around a rather cool sort of northerly flow around that area of high pressure, probably showers in the north and the east as well. Now beyond that, this particular run of the GFS is wanting to extend this high pressure and develop it as we go into the bank holiday weekend. I have to say that this bank holiday weekend is causing problems at the moment. The models are swinging, or the GFS model is swinging from run to run in terms of what's going to happen through this final week of August, covering the bank holiday weekend. So although this particular run of the GFS does actually inflate the high pressure quite a bit over the bank holiday weekend, I wouldn't take that necessarily as how things are going to play out. We'll have a look at the bank holiday weekend in detail for tonight's video update coming up this evening. Right, ECMWF looks like that. Again, we're bringing this weather front across the country on Thursday, which will bring cloud and rain and cooler air too. We go into the weekend, setting up a north-south split. So in the north, it looks more unsettled. There's a weather front through here, bringing outbreaks of rain to Scotland and Northern Ireland. But for England and Wales, we're close to that ridge of high pressure, so it should be a reasonably dry and quite warm weekend down in the south. Into next week, another cold front moves down across the country from Monday to Tuesday. That probably brings the second batch of wet weather down into the south and southeast, followed by cooler air and showers from the northwest. And then we go into the extended range and get to day 10, and it does look rather unsettled. So at this point, the GFS wants to inflate that high pressure close to us around day 10, Thursday the 23rd of August, just before the bank holiday weekend begins. But this one actually looks more unsettled, with low pressure coming in from off the Atlantic, bringing cloud and outbreaks of rain, just highlighting the uncertainty for this final week or so of August. Let's see what the CFS V2 has to say for the next month. So these are 500 millibar heights broken down into weekly periods. The first week period will take us from the 13th through to the 19th of August, with above average heights to our west and southwest and below average heights up to the northwest. That brings the flow and the jet stream through the country rather like that. So it looks pretty unsettled, that for the north, but in the south and southwest, we're close to that ridge. It should be drier and a bit warmer down there. Week 2, which is the 20th to 26th of August, has the above average heights almost over top of the country, but again just a little bit centred to our west, which brings the jet stream through the country a bit like that. So again, will be a reasonable amount of dry weather. And in the north, it could be a little bit on the changeable side as well. The south will get the driest of the conditions with that one. Not as hot as it has been through the summer, because the flow is generally coming from a northwesterly direction. So it isn't as hot as it was through the earlier part of the summer, with the air coming in from off the Atlantic. Week 3 looks rather different. This is the 27th of August to the 2nd of September. We're taking the high pressure up to Scandinavia there, and we're turning the winds into the east. So that could be bringing some hotter air in from off the continent maybe. But then we go through to week 4, and it's the 3rd through to the 9th of September, and it looks a bit more unsettled. This, we pull the heights out into the middle of the Atlantic and send them up to the west of Russia, which would allow the jet stream to come through the country rather like that. So probably turning more unsettled and quite a lot cooler as we go through the first week of September. Temperature anomalies look like this. The coming week is forecast to be above average with the temperature anomaly. quite significantly so, really, for the south, but in the north it is closer to average. Then we go through to week 2, and it looks like that north-south split. So Scotland and Northern Ireland actually going a bit cooler than average this week, the 20th to 26th of August. But for southern parts of England, it is still a little bit on the warmer than average side. Generally cooling down, though, is the message there. And also, perhaps interestingly, given that we are suggesting east to southeasterly winds through this week, the 27th of August, 2nd of September. Temperature anomalies are still rather on the cool side, actually. Most places coming out average, and in the north it's coming out a bit cooler than average. So a definite cool down showing up here with the CFS V2. And then week 4, which is the 3rd through to the 9th of September, that also coming out no better than average to a little bit cooler than average for northern parts of the country. As far as rainfall is concerned, the week ahead looks a little bit wetter than average for Scotland, closer to average elsewhere, drier than average in the very far southwest of the country. That's the week ahead, the 13th to the 19th of August. Week 2, which is the 20th to 26th of August, is forecast to be average to drier than average through most parts of the country. Week 3 looks a bit drier than average for the north, close to average down in the south, and then week 4 is just coming out close to average with the precipitation anomaly. Maybe a little bit wetter than average across central and eastern parts of Europe. I do think that could be rather more unsettled though than that shown. It's week 4, so it's losing the signal. Given the height anomaly, I think that will bring us more influence from the jet stream and from the Atlantic. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. Definitely we can say that it's cooling down if CFS is right. In fact, it has cooled down compared to the extreme heat we had earlier in the summer back in June and July. So cooling down and maybe turning a little bit more unsettled for the north quite soon, and in the south, other parts of the country, probably turning more unsettled by the time you get through to the beginning of September. Overall, it's a bit of a mixed bag in the next week to 10 days as well. Fair amount of dry and warm weather down in the south, but always more unsettled in the northwest. And at times, those more unsettled westerly winds will even get down into the south. We're looking at rain for the south on Thursday, and then again, maybe early next week. And in between that, there will be more rain on most days, actually, up across Scotland and Northern Ireland. So this summer has definitely turned, and whilst in the south was hanging on to relatively dry and quite warm weather, in the north it's been a definite turn to unsettled conditions, and those unsettled conditions do impact the south at times as well. Right, come back this evening when we'll have a look at the late summer bank holiday weekend. We've got update number 2 for that, but that's all for now, and thanks for watching.